All right, we are here, folks. We are here. So I have just a really good question for you.
What's up?
In all of anime, right? Who is the best number two? So not the main character, right? So you
Mm,
can't pick like your Naruto. You can't pick Luffy. You can't pick Goku. But who is the best secondary?
gosh, I know we're doing one of them today. I might, because we're when we get to an episode in February, we're actually gonna have a lot of fun with that. But I'm gonna go with Sasuke. I think that I think that he did the best job in helping to boost the main character story in terms of a Naruto, where it's like those parallel stories running together coincided and helped the character of Naruto and also the main narrative story. I know like at the end of Shippuden, it was just kind of their show essentially, but like him just rising to power, their fights, the emotional behind it, I really think Sasuke is like a great number two.
Mm, fun. Besides the person who we're going to discuss today, right? I'm gonna have to give it to Zuko
Ooh, that's
because
good.
this man, like his journey is just as impactful as Aang's was,
That's true.
and they intersected, of course, at numerous points, and like his story was just it can't be matched. I can't like come on now. Everybody
That
knows Zuko.
That's a good one. And we're thinking about covering him as well. So yeah,
Hmm.
that's a great one. Just like the mask when he was like the blue mask dude and just like sister family beefing and him and Uncle Ira. Oh
Like,
man.
I don't know how in the world can the secondary's final fight probably be more impactful and probably better than Aang's final fight.
I know. Yeah, that's just like growth. It's incredible storytelling. We mentioned it before. Like if you can tell the stories of other characters along outside of the main plot, that really helps boost it. So
Shout out to the goats.
yes. So getting to that, I'm Demetrius,
And I'm Demetrius,
and Michi Meech presents.
the Blurred City Podcast.
All right. So after just our anime recap last week, we are now going into one of the goats, one of the most popular characters of all time, a character that grew just from like a main villain to like a main key hero that actually, if you think about it, we're kind of going to touch it later. He is the Pikachu. No, he's the Charizard to another character's Pikachu. So we're talking about Vegeta, the GOAT,
The
one of the
Prince of
greatest.
all Saiyans.
Yes, one of the Z fighters. Just yeah. So we're looking so forward to it. So if you're listening to the first time or already a key listener, like, subscribe, share, do all the good jazz, just so we can always be in your ear as we're updated. We're looking to have a lot of fun in part two of our season two. So before we actually get into our character study of Vegeta, we always hit you with the legal spiegel.
Yep. So the purpose of this podcast is to explore digital and print media. All sources we reference are owned by the respective companies, and our thoughts and opinions are strictly our own and reflect no biases or corporate agendas. Your discretion is advised.
Bet. So this format is literally one of our favorite formats to do. Just taking a character, picking him apart, breaking down his things. So like, man, I'm so excited for it. We have a lot on tap to get to, but we're always going to cover what's hot first. So what you
Uh,
got?
all right. So for me, I'm actually going to start off in the comic sphere right now because that's when things are going crazy. So firstly, we're going to start with Marvel right now. Marvel continuing on with Dark Web, but they also released the second issue of Miles Morales by Cody
Mm.
Ziegler. It's scrumdiddlyumptious, but you know what else is scrumdiddlyumptious? Monica Rambo's Photon. So
Ooh,
it's a comic that's by Eve Ewing, another sister, and it's about, Monica Rambeau. And for all you who don't know, she's the black girl in WandaVision, so hey. And her comic is just great. Her dialogue, real for a black person, too real, in fact. And I'm just loving every second of it.
but
Uh
not
the,
problematic, real.
no, like you black, so you know it.
All right.
like in a similar field to Miles Morales.
That.
So yeah, there's that. That's fun. And then we moving on to DC where we got I Am Batman again, also another real one. Another one for the goats, the brothers, in the crowd. They also just started a new event, which I'm like, bruh, y'all literally just finished Dark Crisis. Like, how y'all
Yeah.
immediately get into a new event? This one's called Lazarus Planet. So expect a whole lot of different shenanigans going on in there. And then moving on to our indie comics, we got Image. Of course we have Vanish. You know, Vanish is still the GOAT. Vanish is still great and amazing. I'm still waiting for March to kick in so that way we get that fifth issue.
Yep.
And we also have ourselves a new comic. Well, new for me because I just started reading it. It's called Philadelphia.
Oh,
And Philadelphia is a comic all about it's pretty much set in Philly. It's about a brother and it's all about vampires. A, brother dealing with vampires. So with that, right? It's just in a great comics, great, amazing. Of course, another one written by a brother. Let's see what else has been coming out this week. Vanish, King Spawn's great as
mhm.
always. Oh yeah, and then there's a comic called Decimation Earth. Decimation Earth is actually written by another brother, and it's actually released by Concrete Comics, and it's basically them just it's basically like a Lovecraftian horror story.
Oh, that's
So
your vein.
again, I was like, and purchase. Immediately, just give it to me. Because it's about a black man who's pretty much dealing with shenanigans. So some Lovecraftian shenanigans. So hey, just if that's on your radar, boom, go ahead do that. I know that they have a Kickstarter to support their newest the third issue of the comic, so go support that. Uh, and yeah, that's all for the comic sphere. Now, I want to get into like one thing that's actually also being on Indiegogo. It's actually because of the fact when we're recording this, this is the day after Friday the 13th, and one thing that just got put up for crowd support is a wait, Never Hike Alone 2.
Mm.
Never Hike Alone 2 is the sequel to the acclaimed Never Hike Alone fan film by Womp Films or Womp Studios. And it's a great fan film about like Jason Voorhees and him stalking people. It was a found footage type of film, and it was great. It was amazing, and I'm fully planning on supporting the sequel to it. And it's supposed to be a grand finale as well. So I'm like, hey, support.
Oh,
Uh,
great. It's not falling into the trilogy trap.
Nope, nope, no. I mean, technically, it kind of is because there was a sequel called Never Hike Alone in the Snow. That's more like a spin-off, which they ended up putting into the original into making it a one long just film.
Okay.
So technically, it's three, but reality, if you look at it, it's two. And then also the day that you're listening to this, if you're a Dragon Ball head, there's another fan film, well, a fan animation that's coming out called Goku versus Z. It's by the Redhead Henry, and it's the finale to his entire Goku versus Evil Goku series.
Mm.
Haven't talked about it before. It's just great and it's amazing. It's a really fun and fascinating story. So I suggest you all go look at the Redhead Henry channel and just look at his animations for that, and wait in eager anticipation for the finale of Goku versus Z, which is him versus every Goku in the multiverse.
Nice.
But yeah, that's all I had in those two spheres. What you got?
All right. So again, we typically record the weekends before the release of these episodes. So when we recorded last week's episode, the Monday after we recorded, Ant-Man Quantumania, the new trailer dropped.
Oh,
Somebody's about to die. Uh, that's all I can say. I think phase 5 is going to be the death phase. I think people are about to drop. Ant-Man, somebody's dropping because now they have too many people in ant suits, and then also like the older ones. Guardians of the Galaxy 3, considering the fact that James Gunn is going to DC, he's taking somebody with him. Um, somebody's about to die again. I was thinking originally we mentioned that I don't think Drax is gonna die, but then I saw that Batista was like he doesn't really want Drax to be his legacy. So now I'm like, Drax might die, so they don't have him back. But I know if like Secret Wars and the Kang Dynasty, a lot of characters that we've seen before are going to come back in some form or fashion. But I don't know. But that trailer, what do you think about it?
First of all, can we talk about Jonathan Majors for a second? How this man was a beaming. He was out here giving Scott Lang the three-piece Tuesday.
He stopped him.
He stopped him out with the Tims. Like he was a brother straight out of New York. He didn't care about life. He was all about murder.
Yeah. Yeah. Ant-Man's not going hand to hand with Kang. I don't know like what he's gonna do to like get out of the quantum realm. I don't think Ant-Man's gonna die, but there's going to be consequences. And again, I don't know if this is the Kang that will be in the Kang Dynasty one, or if it's like he's going to like create another version of himself to do that. So because we know like he controls time and all that, so that's going to be interesting. Again, so for this week, The Last of Us, the first episode should have dropped. So yeah, the first episode should have dropped. We don't know what it's going to be like, so we might react to it the week after you hear the podcast, and then that'll be episode 2. But that's going to be a good one, but it's going to be heartbreaking because we both like either watched or played the game, and we know what the first episode is going to correlate to. So y'all are not ready for that heartbreak.
The watch. All I gotta say. The watch.
Get ready for the clickers, the new nightmares. This is going to be the new, for the time being, House of Dragon for a lot of people. In the gaming sphere, well, no, one more trailer. Beau is Afraid with Joaquin Phoenix. He's a great actor. And it's a movie by A24. And the director is the director of Hereditary and also Midsummer, which is the two most messed up movies I've ever seen. So this movie comes out in April. Just from the trailer, I still have no idea what it's going to be about, but it's trippy. I'm there day one. Don't even worry about it. That's one of my favorite directors. So I'm absolutely there. You got to watch it, Mitch. I'm telling you. It's just like, what's going to happen?
It was not even on my radar. Hold on. I need to put it on my radar now.
And then in the gaming sphere, we have Hogwarts Legacy. It's not out yet, but I know like a lot of sales are like really high for it. I don't know specifically when it comes out, but it's definitely hyped up. And then Star Wars Survivor comes out next month, I believe.
Yep.
So I think just pre-order. One thing, I don't know if it's what's hot, but a lot of people are talking about it. Velma, the new series.
Oh boy.
I see sometimes like the nerd community can be toxic and you can detect when it is. And then sometimes it's like you have reliable people in the nerd community that you trust. And even those people have been like, this is kind of wild. So I don't know how to feel about it.
I already watched the first 2 episodes. Mm, mm. I'm not saying any more right now.
Is it worth watching?
If you're into that type of humor, if you're into that type of, that regular show slash Adventure Time slash all like the Rick and Morty type of humor.
Okay. From the clips I saw, it seemed like it wanted to be Scooby-Doo Harley Quinn.
Yes, that.
And I like Harley Quinn, but I don't know if I want that out of Scooby-Doo-esque.
Oh yeah, and also just FYI, there is no Scooby-Doo in the show.
I saw from the trailer, I didn't see him at all. Just like the other characters, though.
Oh yeah, it's just all the humans.
All right, so now we get to the Prince of Saiyans. Meets, you can drive this how you want, and I'm just being along for the ride, give my takes as well. But get ready for the character study of Vegeta.
All right, so here we are with again one of my favorite characters of Dragon Ball Z, of the Dragon Ball franchise. It is Vegeta, Bardock, Goku, Broly. It's them 4. Those are my top 4.
Oh, Bardock number 2.
Yes, it's because I recently replayed Dragon Ball Z Kakarot and his
Well, there you go.
his DLC, so it hit me. All right. but yes, so why do I love Vegeta so much? He the Prince of all Saiyans, and his story like is different than most back in the day, right, in Dragon Ball, right? They
Mhm.
all of Goku's allies, all of his friends were all his enemies at some point.
Yeah.
But typically, right, it was like they were enemies in like the arc they were introduced. Then they become allies either by the end of the arc, by the middle of the arc, or literally by the next arc, they were allies or they were
Mhm.
friends. Vegeta, as you guys gonna find out, did not do that so quickly, my guy. He different in that he had a much more realistic approach to, changing heart and going to the side of good. But
Right.
how does that even come about? So we're gonna tackle this saga by saga, and just FYI, we're talking specifically about the Z anime and the Super anime. We're not covering the manga at this current moment in time. We're
Or
not
GT.
gonna we're not gonna cover GT at this current time, and and the only movies that we're gonna touch upon is Broly and Superhero. But also, I may technically reference like things that may have happened in the super manga, but I'm not gonna like say too much in terms of the spoilers, so that way you like know, hey, he acknowledged it. All right. So starting off with the Saiyan saga, this is our man Vegeta. He decided to roll up on the scene right after hearing that uh that Goku's forgotten brother Raditz, Major L, got sent packing and learned about the Dragon Balls. It's like, hey,
Mhm.
you know what? We're gonna go ahead and get the Dragon Balls. And his first establishing moment is when Nappa, his subordinate, was like, "Hey, should we use the Dragon Balls to revive him?" He's like, "Nah. Why would we waste our wish on a weakling when we can wish for something like immortality?"
Uh-huh.
That lets you know right there that that Vegeta was not one to play around. And then we of course we skip like a whole year later and boom, Vegeta is now on Earth, and he essentially is the him and Nappa essentially do the whole trope of, hey, this guy may be bigger, but the smaller guy is the stronger one of the two and the
Mhm.
one you really need to be worried about,
Yeah.
even though Nappa is a whole problem. So,
Yeah, just seeing that like Nappa, he wipes out essentially all the Z fighters except Goku. And I know there's like a filler where like he takes out basically the entire world's military.
yep,
So
just for
like with
fun.
just with that, it's really cool. I don't know if you want to touch on why he wanted the Dragon Balls, like other than immortality, but the reason behind the immortality now, or if you want to touch on it later.
We'll get to it a
Uh,
little later.
Okay, so just with that, you see that like, yeah, Vegeta is just a whole problem, like completely, just like, and then like I really love like the original seat that he had with just kind of like the scanners that they had,
The
like,
Scouter, yeah.
yeah, it was just absolutely incredible. But just even see like there is the trope of characters like the big boss who like doesn't care about like their subordinates or like they'll kill their subordinates like at a heartbeat if they fail them. But like at the time when this came out, this is kind of like relatively new. So just with that, he's like definitely you see like he doesn't care about anybody at all except just being powerful. And then like even with that, since Radish is Goku's brother, that means he's also a lower tier Saiyan. And Vegeta, being the Prince of Saiyans, has that high superiority. Essentially, he's like the highest tier of a Saiyan, considering the fact their entire planet is gone. So,
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. So of course you get into his fight with Kakarot where he basically like, shows out how superior he is. And it's when Goku decides to reveal that like, hey, I'm not one to be messed around with. You go and catch these hands.
mhm.
And Vegeta starts slowly catching these hands. That's when you start seeing his veil of superiority start cracking. And
Yeah,
you want to why it's cracking? Because his pride is being shattered for the first time in this entire series, or however much you want
that
to display
yeah
it.
that we see.
That we
So,
see at the current moment in time. This first time you see his pride getting shattered because a low class warrior is putting the paws on him. So much
absolutely.
so he's forced to go great ape so
Yes.
that way he could kill this man. when that
Yeah.
form is used exclusively for wiping out civilizations.
Yeah, that's insane. Like the Great Ape fight is really wild. Just the effort that it took to cut off his tail. And then for him to then like lose his tail and then have to fight another Great Ape was so funny in Gohan when Gohan turned to Great Ape.
Oh yeah. As I said, this was a fight. It was a grueling fight. Like
Yeah.
everybody who was alive had to get involved. Goku, like, his entire every bone in his body was shattered, and
Hmm.
he just had to go. So fortunately, like this, he Vegeta gets beaten. He basically lost the war of attrition,
Yep.
and he took that L. And it's a very special moment where like he was going to leave, and Krillin was ready to murk this man.
Yes.
And and at this point, right, the only other time where Goku like and his friends like actually murdered the villain was the Red Ribbon Saga, where
Mhm.
everybody in all the Red Ribbon Army in Dragon Ball just got murked like left and right. Like Goku was on a one
Yes.
man rampage. General Tao and King Piccolo.
Hmm.
Those were the only other times that he murdered like the villains. But this case, he decides like, hey, I wanted to, hey Vegeta, I'm gonna spare you, and that's all because like, and contrary to what the original Funimation dub says, because the different dubs have like different reasons.
Hmm.
Funimation dub is like, hey, we don't stick to be as low as him, and you're just like, so basically Superman allegories like we don't kill our enemies. And the
Right.
other one is like, hey, this was the original dub, like in the original Japanese version, it was all because of the fact Goku Saiyan Pride was kicking, Saiyan instincts was kicking in at high gear. It was like, hey, I want to fight this man again. Like,
Yes.
was that much stronger than me, and I just want the round two,
Yes.
please.
And just to like give a taste of like Vegeta's power, at this time, Krillin was actually a problem. I know like Krillin is a complete joke now, but at the time of like when they actually fought, Krillin was like that dude. Like Destructo Disc was like, if you were saying that in school, like you were doing something. To be Krillin now is like nothing. But like the fact that he had to fight everybody is like crazy because he was holding his own. So like he essentially got jumped and like he had to get taken out with a spirit bomb and a great ape. So, but going from there, and now you can lead us into the Namek saga, or
Ah,
as it's also
yes.
called, the Frieza saga.
Ah, yes. So the Namek saga, as I said, like I'm including the Frieza saga, the Ginyu saga. I'm including all that in that one saga. And with that, Vegeta's back, baby. Like
Yes, he
he
is.
couldn't stay out for long, like because he survived, you knew he was gonna come back. And this was like a great follow-up to like how Dragon Ball was written, because like each saga was leading into the next one almost seamlessly,
Mhm.
because this point is like, hey, now he knows that Frieza was listening into his conversations and knows about the Dragon Balls. So now he's basically going rogue on a
Yeah.
one. It's now like you thought the Namek side was convoluted because you think like, oh, it's just the good guy versus the bad guys. No, this case it's more like a three-way brawl
Mhm.
between Frieza's forces, the Earthlings and the Z Fighters, and Vegeta.
Yeah.
Vegeta decides to say, no, bump all that noise with Frieza. I want to be superior to him. So I'm going to go out, get the Dragon Balls myself to try to get the immortality before Frieza can.
Mhm.
And I'm killing everybody who gets in my way, which
Yes.
includes the like of Dodoria and Zarbon, who are
Yes.
Frieza's like number two and number three, which at this point, that's when he truly learns, like, hey, this man that you were serving under the entire time, Frieza, he's the reason your planet was destroyed. Which just galvanizes Vegeta a lot more. It's like, oh, nah, I definitely gotta run your pockets.
Yeah, it's definitely wild. I know like different like timelines and continuities, like when he actually learns when Frieza destroys planet Vegeta is like different. But just with that, to learn that the dude that you were working for destroyed your home planet, but it was almost like he was kind of like slave is not the precise word, but it's accurate enough where it's like you work for Frieza and Frieza at any time could body you. So like with that,
13.
just like the fear and like absolute like racism that Frieza in the workplace, like an HR violation waiting to happen.
Yeah, but who gonna stop him? What HR gonna do?
Nobody.
Nothing. But yes, and also another thing about this saga is that like Vegeta is still a villain. Like
Hmm.
even because of course there comes a point where he's forced to team up with the Z fighters against the Ginyu Force,
Yes.
and he's still a villain, right? This is not a enemy of my enemy is my friend scenario. It's more of like if we going to survive,
Yes.
we gotta team up. But do know I'm still on that op activity,
Hmm.
especially considering he actually single-handedly murdered an entire village of Namekians
Yes.
just for one Dragon Ball. And
Yes.
of course, you see that reluctant alliance with the Z fighters. And of course, when Goku gets back, that's when he starts having a whole hissy fit because at this point, that's when you start hearing, at least from Vegeta, the legend of the Super Saiyan and just how much like this is what Frieza was afraid of, and this is what Vegeta was really trying to achieve.
Hmm. And then with like Zarbon gives Vegeta the hands and feet initially. So that's another beatdown. We're going to talk about Vegeta's top five beatdowns, but not yet. So he gets the hands and feet, but then he mentioned yes, the Super Saiyan. So it's kind of similar when we talk about something else with Super Saiyan God. But he's like, okay, I got to be the Super Saiyan. I got to be the Super Saiyan, and he's like understanding that Goku is surpassing him. I mean, he literally beat him the last time they fought. And just like with that, every time Goku comes back, which is kind of a recurring theme, he's much stronger. And like Vegeta, he had to like lick his wounds for a while. He wasn't training. So with that, he comes back. Obviously, he's trying to look for the Dragon Balls. He sneaks Krillin. He sneaks Gohan for no reason. Takes them all. But like with that, I know they in this saga they do lose the Dragon Balls, and then Frieza has them all, but they can't. He can't use them because he needs like a Namekian password to use it.
Yep, yep. So of course that's what allows like Vegeta in his rogue activity, like even though he got his behind whooped by Raccoon of the Ginyu Force and then gets healed by Kakarot, of course his pride is again shattered once again because now Kakarot's fully stronger than him. He might actually be the Super Saiyan, only to find out that Kakarot like he's still sparing people because Vegeta believes like, hey, if you're a Super Saiyan, you ruthless. You out here murking anything and everything in sight. It's on sight for everybody. And
Yep.
Goku was not doing that. So it's like, nah, renegade option, I'm murdering all the Ginyu Force. Like there's no ifs,
Yes.
ands, or
The
buts.
dude whose head he cut off and then disintegrated.
Yes, like there is no mercy for this man. Uh, and of course, like just moving on ahead, like seeing different moments, like Vegeta, basically, you're seeing a little bit more of a tactical Vegeta as well because he has to like stealthily move around. Also, he no longer needs to use a scouter anymore because being on Earth allowed him to sense energy. Who knows why? But but like he's using that to his advantage. He's hiding Dragon Balls from Frieza. He's sneaking around on Frieza's ship while Frieza is in there, like a
Yeah.
whole Mission Impossible type of scenario.
And then he put a donut in somebody.
Yeah, and he decided to blow Zarbon right out into the stratosphere and decided to put donuts in everybody. It was him, and he got Jace to be a pack, and
Hmm.
he ironically spared Ginyu only because he found the idea of Ginyu being a frog to be so hilarious.
Yes, that is funny.
But
And
yeah,
but then he comes upon the big boss.
oh yeah, the Frieza fight. All right, here we go. Frieza was it's like you know this moment where he's just like, oh boy, all right, I gotta fight Frieza, but I know that like I've been getting stronger throughout this entire saga because of the Zenkai boost, which is where whenever you recover from near death, you literally get stronger.
Yep.
That's how Goku been getting stronger, and that's how he's been getting stronger throughout the entire fight because Dodoria handed him an L, Raccoon started handing him L's, so
Sorry.
he decided to just all right. I think I got this. I think I got Frieza. And then he realized, oh wait, Frieza has more transformations,
Yes,
and he
he
keeps
already knew
going.
about like the one, but he did not know about the second.
Nope, he did not know about two or three. Which is like, okay, all right, Krillin, I'm gonna need you to put a donut in me. And he's just like, whoa, 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 chill, Vegeta. But that just shows how desperate he is at that moment. It's like, hey, to beat Frieza, I need to become the Super Saiyan because Kakarot is out of commission.
Right.
And so put a donut through me, and then Dende, you heal me, so that way I get another Zenkai. And somehow it works.
Mm-hmm.
After, of course, threatening Dende because of the fact, like, hey, I'm about to die, and if I die, you all die.
Poor
Uh,
Dende.
yeah, poor Dende. Dende got the short end of the stick, but this ain't his episode. Um, but yeah, so Vegeta comes back, fully Zenkai boost, Frieza in his final form, and then one of the most baffling beatdowns, one of the most down horrendous beatdowns of all time ends up commencing.
It's not even the worst one he gets, but yeah, you're right.
I argue that it might actually, well, actually, no, yeah, you're right. No, this is actually number two,
It's
but
up there. It's up
it's
there.
two in his most physical beatdown, but this is his number one most emotional beatdown
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
because of the fact, like, all this time he's thinking like he's a Super Saiyan and that he's the one be able to beat Frieza, when in reality he's just getting dogged
Oh
the
yeah.
whole entire time, and
Yeah,
Frieza's not even trying.
to the point where it's like he's on the stages of death and then he's like crying, which is insane. Like that's like the first time he ever cries, it says, I believe. And just like that vulnerability, and then like him giving his like it's like kind of like in some shows where it's like, I give you my will, I give you like carry on my dreams and hopes for me. He literally does that to Goku. It's like, Kakarot, please just take on like all of like your brothers of fellow Saiyans, and just like, you have to become the Super Saiyan in order to beat Frieza. He's the one that destroyed our home. He destroyed our fathers. You have to be the pride of the Saiyans and like carry it on by beating him and becoming a Super Saiyan.
Hmm. And yeah, Vegeta dies.
It checks out. Yeah.
Yeah, so he got sent packing. And of course, that galvanized Goku to fight Frieza. In the end, of course, death does not exist in Dragon Ball, so
Absolutely
the
not.
Dragon Balls decide to be used, and Vegeta gets brought back just in
Mhm.
time to see Goku as a Super Saiyan, and see, like, you see his pride just start welling up a bit
Yes.
because, like, A, Kakarot's finally a Super Saiyan. Frieza is in distraught and he's getting beat down.
Yes.
I'm alive to see it, and I'm ready to throw hands with Frieza again. And you're just like, whoa, Vegeta, you just come back from the dead, and the first thing you want to do is run the pause with the man who killed you.
Oh, we'll talk about what he did later on when he
Oh
ran the
boy,
boss. Yeah.
oh boy. But yeah, but he gets teleported to Earth, where his cockiness decides to go through the roof, where he's like, all right, Kakarot's dead now, because they all know, like, planet Namek exploded.
Yep.
Kakarot may be dead, he may not be. Vegeta acting like top dog,
I'm him.
and then and then Gohan decided to save his father's honor, and Vegeta decided to put the pause on Gohan with some domestic, like, he should be arrested for child abuse among other things. Jeez, he
That was
gave
wrong.
Gohan the eight piece.
That was sick. Yeah, so I think from there we can kind of get into the Android saga.
Ah, yes. Now the Android saga, which I'm including the Cell saga, and this is where you have to beware of getting what you want. All right, and also to know, like, the reason why pride is one of the biggest sins,
Mhm.
because Vegeta was probably at his second most out of pocket. So, firstly, again, he's not a good guy at all in this saga.
Although he does start to form a relation, he's not a good guy, but he does start to form a relationship with Bulma because we get introduced to Trunks.
Yes, so of course as you mentioned, we get introduced to Trunks, who's his son from the future, and with Bulma, so we know him and Bulma got to get together at some point, which is during this 3-year time skip.
Mhm.
Uh, and throughout this time, he leaves her to be a single mom and goes out into space, not paying child support at all. Uh,
Deadbeat die.
yep, he's the biggest deadbeat, and it's because as Team Four Star was stated, he wanna be a Super Saiyan. He
Yes.
wanna. Uh, and and then you don't see him for a while
Hmm.
until the Android Saga is in full swing. Goku is out. He fought the androids, Android 19. His heart virus is kicking in, so he
Yep.
needs to be put out of commission. And then the prodigal son returns,
Hmm.
or the prodigal prince, if you
Yes.
will, where
With a
he
boost that we don't see on screen yet.
yes, and he just like dogging Kakarot is like, oh yeah, so you just decided to be decided to be out of commission. But bruh, you gotta remember, I can't let you die until you run these ones with me.
Gotta get my get
Yo,
back.
yeah, your death is on my hands. So I'ma save your life.
Hmm.
And you guys just leave so that way he can get his healing. So I can run the ones with him. Because
Hmm.
now your boy is the strongest character. I'm a Super Saiyan, baby.
Yep.
Bam! Transforms into a Super Saiyan with probably some of the best Faulkner music of all time.
And he bodies Android 19.
It's with the swiftness, bodies him, and then bodies Android 20 for a good minute before he has to leave.
Hmm.
Then he learns the son from the future is his son. The Super Saiyan of the future is his son.
Hmm.
And he's like, oh, I cannot deal with this right now. I gotta go run the pause with these androids.
Yes.
Because Future Trunks decided to say, like, hey, the ones you were fighting were not them. It was those weren't it. 17 to 18, they are them.
Yes. And then all of a sudden, just like there's a shaking in the distance. And then you just hear humbling, 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 humbling. And Android 18 beats his behind.
Woo! Oh man. Oh man. Vegeta gets another savage beatdown. And this is actually the first, no wait, technically the second time his arm gets broken.
Yeah.
Uh, but this is probably the most famous time he gets his arm broken because
Hmm.
he got what he wanted. He was a Super Saiyan. He was the strongest of the Z fighters at the time.
Yep.
He and his pride was probably through the roof, and then immediately got shattered.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
took one of the biggest L's he got.
Yeah. He learned like the androids, they have unlimited energy, while him being Super Saiyan expends so much energy and he gets beat completely. I think like Vegeta paved the way for Renji. In a sense, the number
Yeah,
two that gets his behind beat.
yeah, yeah. But I would say at least for Vegeta's that he gets comebacks every now and again.
That's true.
Renji,
Yeah, that's true.
ah. But
Even
we ain't talking about Renji today. We ain't talking about him
not
today.
yet, not yet.
But but yeah, so of course him getting his arm broken, him learning that his son from the future about his son, Vegeta just leaves.
Yeah,
And he is just wallowing in his self-pity in the rain in the desert, transforming into Super Saiyan, just raging out. He hit the blue screen of death.
yeah.
Uh, and you see in all of the famous AMVs on YouTube back in circa 2005 with Linkin Park playing in the background. He is just going through it through it for a while
Mhm.
until Kakarot decides to go. He gets fully healed. It's like, hey, I know a place where you can get a year's worth of training in a day. He's like, oh, word? Bet I'm going in first. So that way I can run the pause on the androids, on now Cell, who he's now aware of, and
Mhm.
on you. Because again, his sole purpose is to run the pause on everybody who's disrespected him.
Yes.
Kind of like an no, I ain't gonna say it because I was gonna get this whole place canceled.
Oh my gosh.
I'm
So I'll take over. I'll take the baton for you. So essentially, he gets like a modifier to Super Saiyan 1. It's so interesting with the power scaling where it's like it's not exactly one, two, three. It's like one, one and a half, and years and stuff like that. But he gets that, and he goes up against Imperfect Cell,
semi
and he
perfect.
Yeah, and he does a really good job. He's beating him. And then he decides to get cocky and his pride gets in the way. And this is one of the most famous beatdowns that we have ever seen in anime. So essentially, he's like, Cell's like, yo, let me just get to my perfect form. This is the one thing about Dragon Ball Z where it's like, let them power up so I can beat them at their best. So it's like, let me get to my perfect form. Wait till I get to my perfect form. And all the other people are like, no, no, we got to take him out now. And Vegeta is like, none, power up, go to your perfect form. I will defeat you.
Yeah, but at least this was a great moment for Trunks because Trunks was pressing Vegeta, was
Yes.
like, hey, stop it. Stop letting your pride get in the way. And if you side with Cell, I'm going to run the pause on you, Dad. And he's like, oh, nah, you ain't going to do nothing to me. I'm your daddy. I'll beat the mess out of you, boy. And Trunks was having none of it. But this is not a Trunks Center episode. This is not a Trunks Center episode. But just know that Trunks ran the pause on Vegeta,
Mm-hmm.
and Vegeta got a bit of pride from that. But of course Cell got perfect, and Vegeta proceeded to get another great beatdown.
This is a
L's left
legendary
and right.
beatdown.
Of course, he still get his famous final flash, which probably another famous sequence, best
Mm-hmm.
music, uh, and the build up to it's amazing, can't be matched in recent years. And then no,
Nope.
nope, Cell decided to break Vegeta's back,
Yeah.
blow his back clean off, and just like, oh Lord, all right, well that's his pride chatter again,
Mhm.
along with his spine.
Yes.
And yep, and then from there, of course, Cell decides to announce the Cell games. Vegeta gets healed. And we also get to learn just how smart Vegeta is because Trunks ends up fighting Cell using an upgraded version of the upgrade Super Saiyan. So Super Saiyan Grade 3,
Mhm.
but it turns out Vegeta actually knew what Grade 3 was and never used it because of the weakness that Grade 3 had versus Grade 2. So
Mhm.
hey, warrior tactician. Even though that did not save him in the end.
No.
But of course, he's back on the lookout, licking his wounds. Kakarot comes up, and Kakarot's already stronger than him again. And it's like, dang it.
Yes. So, like, even with that, just fast forwarding, the death of Goku in this saga, but then Trunks does die in this one, right?
Yes. So Trunks
So, yeah.
does get donutted by Cell. And this is one of the first times you see Vegeta developing love for his family because he sees his son bleeding out on the floor and he gets so enraged that he charges at a even more powerful Cell, a super perfect Cell,
Yeah.
and tried to run the pause on him only to get backhanded. And Super Saiyan 2 Gohan had to uh save Vegeta.
Mhm.
And this is another point, right, where Vegeta actually apologizes to Gohan
Yes.
for putting them in this situation in the first place. And you're just
Mhm.
like, wow. And also another thing from Team Four Star that did it best is like, wow, Vegeta's apologizing. We are screwed.
Yeah, that pride, like we see it like from the jump how prideful he is, and for him to get to the point of just like, hey, I caused all of this. I caused so much stuff. I caused plan skip on him. I caused your dad to die. I caused my son to die. Like I caused you to get your arm broken trying to save me. So with that, just like, and then I believe in some of it, I can't remember if it's partial fill or not, but like when they're doing the famous Kamehameha struggle, like he sneaks Cell to
Yeah,
distract him. So
yes,
yeah.
it's not filler. That was actually the canon. So like
Okay,
Vegeta
cool.
is the one who helps Gohan to finish off Cell by distracting him for a last second. And and like with that, the day is saved. And but Vegeta is so hurt by Goku dying and not being able to get that rematch because Goku's choosing to stay dead this time.
Mhm.
See how long that lasts. And Vegeta just chooses to, you know what? I'm gonna stop fighting. I'm gonna no longer be a warrior. I'm gonna settle down, and we'll see how long that lasts.
Pay child
Because
support.
yeah, and be a family man. And now 7 years pass, and here we are to the Boo saga.
Oh boy.
All right, so of course, 7 years passed. This man is just a family man. He is just with Trunks, training him. Of course, Super Saiyan bargain sale when he figures out that his son, who is like 7, is now a Super Saiyan, and you're just like, hey, yo, what? Oh wait, not 7, 8. My bad. He was
Mhm.
8, but yeah, I was like, hey, yo, what?
It's in the
And
genes.
yep, it's some S cells. If you know, you know. But yeah, so he then overhears that like, hey, Goku's coming back for a day for this tournament. And he's like, oh, word? All right. I'm gonna enter this tournament so I can run the pause with you now, Kakarot.
Hmm.
Because like even though I may have given up being a fighter, I'm still been training my butt off. I've reached levels you've never seen, and I get to run the pause with you again. I bet. And, and of course, throughout this time, he has like zero patience throughout most of the saga, right?
Yeah.
Because at the World Tournament, he actually gets matched up with Goku for like the third fight, and you're just like, at first you're thinking, oh snap, this fight about to go crazy, and
Hmm.
then you realize, oh wait, you gotta deal with the whole villain. This fight ain't gonna happen.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so yeah, so yeah, of course, the saga decides to actually happen. The plot decides to kick in. Goku has to leave along with Gohan to go deal with the Boo mess, and Vegeta's having none of it. He's like, nah, Kakarot, I'm gonna need you to, I'm gonna go assist you just to end this conflict quickly so we
Yes.
can run these pods before the day is over.
But then the person that was paying attention was Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo. And so then we get the transformation from Vegeta through mind control.
Oh yeah, so yes, Vegeta decides to turn back to the dark side of the Force,
Hmm.
and with
That
mind
him on
control,
his head.
yep, he got that tattoo on his forehead. Now I'm sure a lot of kids back in 2000 they were ready to get tattooed on them um to go to the Majin Vegeta, Prince of Destruction, uh,
Yes.
and to run. And his sole purpose for turning back to the side of evil is because with the mind control he gets stronger, so he can run the pause with Goku,
Yep.
leading to a major establishing moment of his evil side is when they get teleported back to the world tournament stage.
Oh, yes.
All he says like, Kakarot, we are going to fight, and he just shoots an energy blast at Goku, and Goku's forced to dodge it, and it ends up killing a bunch of people.
That's wild.
And then he's like, and then Goku's of course like, I'm not fighting you, Vegeta, because if we fight, our energy is just going to release Majin Buu. And he's like, oh, word? All right, we gonna fight. Puts his hand to the side and kills more civilians. And ironically, right, at the place where he shoots them at was like inches from where Bulma was.
Ooh,
So he
yeah.
almost killed his own wife
Just
just
because.
just to spite Goku enough to and rile him up enough to fight.
We gotta talk about this. I think that Vegeta's secret love is actually Goku. We gotta think about that.
Oh, so what you saying is this is a Batman Joker scenario? Oh yeah,
I
none of y'all
mean,
ready to hear that conversation?
the short end of the stick. I mean, he's obsessed with Goku in this arc.
Oh yeah. So of course he gets again one of the best speeches of all time, and then they get teleported to the wastelands where Goku and Vegeta will fight, and
Hmm.
Babidi tries to mind control Vegeta to kill Supreme Kai, but Vegeta has that much dog in him, has that much Saiyan pride that he resists the mind control.
Yep.
He just says, "You try to mind control me, you may have my mind and my body, but there's one thing a Saiyan always keeps, his pride." And
Mhm.
breaks the mind control so that way he can run the pause with Goku.
He
And
does essentially, technically. I mean, he sneaks him, but he beats Goku in this arc, which is like one of the first times that we see that.
yeah, he sneaks Goku when he had his back turned because Goku had his guard down. Something that'll continue to happen in Dragon Ball Super. But that was because Majin Buu got released, and Goku's like, hey, we gotta go deal with this, and because it's our fault that Boo got released,
Yeah.
and think about
Oh,
what Boo's
Bulma.
gonna do to Bulma and what Boo's gonna do to Trunks. So Vegeta sneaks Goku, takes a Senzu, and decides to go run the pause with the main villain.
Yeah, that didn't work out too well.
Another savage beatdown for Vegeta. Even though he was getting his licks in, he was
Hmm.
getting them licks in, but magic is his kryptonite. All right, and
Oh, but yeah, this is also the part where he confesses, well, not confesses, but he tells Trunks that he loves him for the first time
yep. So
through
this is a
sacrifice.
yeah, this is a very big moment for Vegeta where he expresses his love for somebody, specifically his own son, and he's willing to do anything for him. Gives him a hug for the first time, then knocks him out, and then knocks Goten out right at the same time.
Yep.
And this is really great because it's very ironic because the mind control that Bobby put Vegeta under is supposed to release all the inner evil that Vegeta has. And this is a form that Vegeta chose to do. So he
Hmm.
chose for his evil to be fully on the surface so he can get stronger. And yet one of his first one of his first acts of showing love to somebody is in this evil state.
Yeah.
But yeah, so at this point, him and Piccolo have a conversation like, "Hey, I ain't gonna make it out of this alive.
Nah.
I'm gonna try to take Boo out with me, but will I see Kakarot in the afterlife?" And Piccolo is just brutally honest with him. He's just like, "Nah, you you did way too much heinous, too much op activity in your life to be awarded the honor of seeing Kakarot on the other side." And Vegeta goes through with it anyways.
Hmm.
That was a big dog moment. It's like, I'm gonna die. Like I could just stop right here. I could just wait it out, and but I choose to sacrifice myself anyways for a
Yeah.
chance of killing him and doing the ultimate act of good by killing himself and try to kill Majin Buu with him. The
Yeah.
final explosion.
I think it's just really cool, like his character development in these first three arcs before we hit the big time skip into Super. But just like him being that villain to then like ultimately sacrificing himself to like not only just like save Trunks, but also Goten, which is like Goku's
Second
kid and
son.
offspring. Yeah, and just like to even be in that situation where it's like, yeah, I don't have to take the win here. Like I'm gonna do the sacrifice, and then obviously like the villains always come back. So like his sacrifice ultimately didn't mean anything because Boo just like recombined into himself. But moving forward, I know when we get to Super Boo, are they still dead at that point, or do they die and then fight Kid Boo as like their dead selves?
So, all right. So what happens is that Vegeta is fully dead until like towards the very end. So then, of course, Boo gets stronger, and Goku comes fully back to life. But
Mm-hmm.
then King Yemma decides to, in his infinite wisdom, to throw Goku and Vegeta a bone by by temporarily reviving Vegeta in the same way Goku was temporarily revived. So for a day, Vegeta gets to come back. He has his body again because in the afterlife, if you go straight to the underworld, as I'm gonna call it, he loses his body. But Vegeta gets his body back, and at this point, like he is tight at Goku,
Yeah.
very tight because he learns about Super Saiyan 3 and how Goku was holding back the entire fight.
Mm-hmm.
And he was very tight with Goku because Goku was trying to get to fuse with him. Like he was trying to fuse, Vegeta was having none of it. Until Goku convinces him, like, hey, Boo, right? He murdered Bulma. He
Mm-hmm.
absorbed Trunks. Literally, he took out everything you loved. He
Yep.
took out everyone I loved. We gotta run the pockets with him, but neither of us are stronger on our own. We gotta work together. And at this point, they decide to put on some jewelry for the first time,
Yes, sir.
and Vegito makes his debut.
Absolutely. I know the fusion, like the ultimate, because Vegeta hates fusing with Goku so much. But and then I think here at this point, when they actually fused, it was like, y'all would be fused forever. I believe
Yes.
that was how it was initially introduced. So, for that, he was like, fine, I'd rather take out Boo and be merged with you forever than to just not have my people avenged. So then they actually they give Boo the hands now,
Whew,
but yeah, Vegito, whenever they combine, whether it's Vegito or Gogeta, which Gogeta, excuse me, they give people the hands now. But I think ultimately they couldn't kill Super Boo because Super Boo had the people their family friends within him eaten, so they couldn't destroy the body, which leads to one of the funniest few episodes
Oh yeah.
afterwards.
So Vegito purposely lets himself get absorbed so that way he could take Boo out from the inside out. And inside Boo, they defuse and they're like, "Oh no, we ain't fusing anymore for the rest of this arc. We are not gonna fuse ever again. Screw that. I'm destroying the earrings."
Yeah.
I'm like, bruh, you could have at least sold the jewelry on eBay or at least on Etsy. Like, bruh, you know how much you can get for that? Uh,
Infinity dollars.
yes, even though I know your wife is the richest person on earth, but still, and you a prince, but come on, man. But yeah, so they ended up fighting Boo on the inside together. They release
Mhm.
all their friends, and then Vegeta, in his infinite wisdom's like, oh wait, hold on, Boo. We see this fat Boo inside you that's also been
Yes.
absorbed, and you will get extra tight whenever we get near him. I wonder what happens if we rip him out too. Boo is extra scared. He's like,
Yeah.
please don't. Please, for the love of God, don't. It's like, oh, you begging now? I bet. Lace up the Black Air Forces and rip him out anyways.
He's so cruel, man. I love Vegeta.
Yes. But unfortunately, this was a major blunder. All right, because what this ended up doing is turning Super Boo into the president of Black Air Forces himself. Shout out to CJ the Champ, to the CEO, to,
Yes.
to the to the head Black Air Force in charge, Kid Boo.
Bro, how is Kid Buu so much stronger than Super Buu when he lost everything? And he was a menace, like an absolute menace.
So this is what I like to think, right? And is that like Super Boo is actually stronger than Kid Boo, but Kid Boo is more unhinged. And you
Mm,
know how like the more unhinged you are, you somehow get like insanity levels of strength. Like
yeah.
he just does not care. He will run pockets and this is not a Kid Boo episode. If it was, hey, go look at CJ the Champ's episode on Boo because that
Hmm.
is the go is goaded. But yeah, so yeah, they all get out of Boo as he's transforming into Kid Boo. Kid Boo's first move destroy Earth
Petty.
and but before he does, he shoots a blast at Earth intending to destroy it. Vegeta is the first one to react and to shoot it. So,
Hmm.
so yeah, hey, he's like, whoa, 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 chill out. And then Boo destroys the Earth. They all get sent to Supreme Kai's world, where Goku and Boo end up having a brawl, which is an amazing and another amazing character moment for Vegeta, where he finally, after all these years, admits and relinquishes the title of the world's strongest to Goku.
Hmm.
Mm.
Does Vegeta ever go Super Saiyan 3 at any point? I don't recall him ever doing
Technically,
it.
no in the series, but as you know, like by Super Comp, when Super happens, Super Saiyan 3 is 1,000% obsolete.
That's
And
fair.
it could, and like my main headcanon is that he can go Super Saiyan 3, but it's a similar situation to like Super Saiyan Grade 3 with Trunks' super buff forms that he sees the all of the downfalls of using that form, which
Hmm.
is that the key consumption is crazy. And he elects to never use that form because of how draining it can be.
It makes sense. Yes. And just like even with Goku and Kid Buu's fight, we see that Vegeta, just to give Goku time during the ultimate, penultimate ending to it, he is like fighting Kid Buu and like he's dead. So like if he dies again, it's over. Like there is no coming back. There is no more like even the spirit of Vegeta, and just like he won't like give up. And that's like just like really another big moment to him. And he's the one that convinces people, well, to like ultimately have the spirit bomb, but like the person Satan is
Hail
able to get them
Satan.
to give it.
Hail Satan.
Is able
Uh,
to get them.
but yes, as you mentioned, like Vegeta, oh man, Vegeta gets the worst beat down in this one. Like physically, this was rough for my guy, as you mentioned before. But yeah, he was the one who tells Goku, like, hey, use the spirit bomb. Like, this
Mhm.
is your only chance. And also, like, let the people of Earth defend themselves for once.
Right.
As you said, like Hell Satan, he gets to and he wins. And of course, Vegeta is now set, and and now he's firmly. Oh yeah, another big character moment is the fact that like Goku and team uses the Namekian Dragon Balls to revive everyone who was good,
Hmm.
and Vegeta ends up getting revived in that wish. So if you had any doubts when Vegeta became good, it was this arc in the Buu saga.
Hmm.
And that was
Yes.
where it fully cemented him as a good guy.
So yeah, and for a lot of people, this is kind of where a Dragon Ball Z initially ended. So we're gonna take a quick sponsor break, and then we're gonna transition into Super.
All right, so for today's sponsor break, we have the Saiyan Academy. In the Saiyan Academy, you get to learn to express your pride and the warrior way in the strongest way possible. You train with the elites of the elites and to become the strongest Saiyan, the strongest Earthling, the strongest being overall. And you will become the greatest in the universe. Now, full disclosure, we cannot guarantee that you will become a Super Saiyan, but we can guarantee that you will be stronger than Krillin. So please come and join the Saiyan Academy, where all humans and beings of indeterminate races can become the strongest there is.
All right, so Super came out. I remember I by the time it ended, I was waiting for the dub for it to come out, and it was like super far behind. So like it was by a Tournament of Power when I actually started watching the dub for Super, and it was really good. But with that, speaking of Frieza, it's a lot of him and Goku's like paralleling together. Essentially, they're the main two characters now. Whereas in the first, I don't want to say arcs, but the first iteration of Dragon Ball is mostly Goku and everyone else. So like with that, his character arc is semi complete, but Meech, I know there's aspects of it that you want to talk about.
Yeah, so essentially, like as you mentioned, like when it comes to each of the arcs of Dragon Ball Super, like you know that, like as I said, Vegeta's pretty much like his character arc is fully cemented in Dragon Ball Z, and when it comes to Dragon Ball Super, it's more accentuating. It's more like you seeing the full change, like more you seeing like the after effects of it in Dragon Ball Super. So kicking it off with the Battle of Gods arc, of course, that's when Beerus decides to show up. Vegeta's fully terrified of him, but in this arc, you fully see him like giving up his pride for
Mhm.
somebody.
Yeah.
Where in this case, firstly, it was give us his pride for Beerus because he is fully terrified and he knows exactly what Beerus can do when he's on his off day. But really, it's cemented when Beerus decided to put his literal paws on Bulma,
Yes.
and Vegito's having none of that. That's his Bulma, and you see his full wrathful state where he become, well, not wrathful state, but like his
Mhm.
anger going to overdrive to where at that moment he was temporarily stronger than Goku, to
Yes.
which like he was, which I'm pretty sure if he knew about that part, he'd be so happy. Um, but yeah, and then of course there is the Super Saiyan God ritual where he elects to not be the Super Saiyan God, but let Goku be it.
Which is wild. Yeah.
So yeah, it's like that's pretty much mostly it. Also in the Super arc, like when Goku, like in the Super version of the movie, like when Goku's pretty much fighting Beerus, it's Vegeta who's like has the most confidence in him. Vegeta's like, come on, Kakarot, you can do this. And like
Mhm.
when Goku's falling back to Earth, it's Vegeta who catches him. It's
Yeah.
like the brotherhood.
You have to think about it because, like, Vegeta, if you think about Z, is there for every big boss fight. With Frieza, he sees Goku go Super Saiyan for the first time. And he's the one that encourages it. With Cell, he's there helping Gohan to defeat Cell, like we mentioned. And then
Hmm.
he's literally the one that encourages Goku to use the Spirit Bomb to defeat Boo. So, like, in every big arc of Z, Vegeta is right there to assist and aid, and he's witnessing it. Like, this is like his brother in arms and like a fellow brother Saiyan. Essentially, the only other Saiyan he knows other than like legit his family. So
Yep. And yeah, it's a brotherhood. They are besties now,
they
even
are
though Vegeta
besties.
will never admit to it. They really
Yep.
are. But yeah, it's like let's keep it on moving to the Resurrection Ep Saga.
Oh
So,
yes, when it started to start it off.
oh boy. So firstly, we gotta get to like how in the world did Vegeta start training with Beerus and Whis? And that's because he decides to relinquish his pride again and bowing to Whis so that he could train him, is so he can be stronger. And in that time that like Whis was training Vegeta, he gets strong enough to go Super Saiyan God on his own. He gets strong and he gets very much stronger than Goku was at that time.
Mhm.
And then Whis brings in Goku so that way they both can train together and again continue being besties. But
Yes.
oh boy, the movie.
And then yes, with this, Frieza comes back from hell, who had the funniest punishment in hell. That's what I think about it should be for certain people.
Yeah.
With just like the whatever those things were that were
Teddy
singing in his head.
bears, angels, just all that.
But yeah, so then we see they decide to like we're not covering the movie, but essentially they decide, okay, we're gonna one-on-one Frieza at different times. And then Goku gets his first chance. Was there a time limit? Because I'm trying to remember
Nope.
when they switched. Okay. Why did they switch again? Because
So
Goku was first, right?
yeah, Goku was first, and he was running the pause on Frieza. And
Mhm.
Frieza was like slowly losing power in his golden form, and Goku was ready to beat him. But then Goku let his guard down and got snuck and he got shot through the chest.
Okay, yes.
So
So
he got
then
taken out.
yes, and then Vegeta,
Woo!
he remembers this. This is what I'm talking about by generational beatdowns. He remembers not only the beating that he took and getting killed by Frieza before, but also he kills his planet. And in the movie and like in the anime, completely gives Frieza the hands, like destroys him. He's playing with him, he's toying him. But the one thing about Vegeta and his pride, he plays with his food too much. So like every other Dragon Ball Z villain, they're like, hey, if you're gonna beat me, I'm just gonna destroy the planet. And Frieza is like, I'm gonna destroy the planet. So I know you mentioned getting robbed of the win. So like in that Goku goes to Whis, he's like, yo, just reverse time. They go back to right before Frieza does it, and Goku sneaks on and kills Frieza again.
I was hurt. I was hurt by that because like, come on, you couldn't let Vegeta have that one.
That was Vegeta's dub, low key.
Like he should have ended this man. But it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. But moving on, we got the Universal Six tournament where he Vegeta ends up learning more about the Universe Six Saiyans, and he meets them. He's like, whoa, 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 hold on. There's more Saiyans out there.
Yep.
Your planet, like our home planet, is still alive. Like everybody is still there,
Mhm.
and like but the thing is, like, because of the fact they're still peacekeeper force, like they don't have that Saiyan warrior grit, that warrior pride. And this one, you see Vegeta actually,
Disappointed.
yeah, disappointed, but then somewhat take up a mentorship role
Yep.
to this one Saiyan named Kaba.
Mhm.
And in that, like Vegeta, of course, he like 2v5s a whole team. Like he nearly
Yes.
takes out the whole entire team, especially considering he fights like Universe Six's version of Frieza and bodies him immediately
Yes.
in a very great moment because Frost is is trash.
Yes, he is.
But but fortunately, as I said, he 1v3s
Mhm.
the troop, and Vegeta mentors Kaba into just taking Saiyan pride and teaching him how to become a Super Saiyan.
Yeah, that was definitely interesting. Just like to be like, yo, come here, let me take you under my wing real quick. Like from Vegeta, come on, like that wasn't
Yeah,
even his son. Like I mean, Kappa kind of did like slightly look like Vegeta from like the hair standpoint, but like he like took him and just like raised him. It
yep.
was really
It's
cool.
like I was like, hold on, my child, come here. Let me learn you a thing or two about Saiyan pride, my boy. Bam! And
Yes,
then knocks him out after he becomes Super Saiyan. That was kind of crazy.
yes,
And
and then
then he
we.
gets, huh?
Oh, I was gonna say, finish this because I know the next arc is your favorite arc of all time.
You darn right. I was gonna say, and then he gets knocked out by Hit, and then that's literally all you give Vegeta.
Mhm.
But
But
now,
yes, going there. Go ahead.
oh no, oh no, 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 I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna let you go.
So now we get into Misha's favorite arc,
Woo!
the number one pick in his anime villain draft,
Woo!
Goku Black arc.
Woo! Oh yeah, because this arc has Vegeta pressed the whole entire arc because of my favorite villain,
Yes.
Goku Black, decided to pull up to wreck his son's future timeline. He made him he made him weak. He made him weak. He made him look saucy. It was crazy. But but at least this time you see like again more of the mentorship role of Vegeta because he just sees Goku Black and he's just like, I immediately hate you
Yeah.
for not only wrecking my future, well, wrecking my son's future, you
Mhm.
killed my future wife,
Yep.
and you look like my rival.
Yeah.
I gotta run the pause. And run the pause he tried. But before that, right, he decides like, okay, Trunks, like he okay, but he ain't on God tier. So he
Nope.
trains up Trunks. Now now remember that in the Android saga, he trains with Trunks, trains in air quotes because they go into the hyperbolic time chamber together, but it was more like Vegeta training on his own, Trunks training on his own.
Mhm.
This time it's more like we training together, my guy,
Yep.
and the becoming like a father-son duo. So they go to the future. Vegeta decides to go all out in blue to run the ones with Kakarot Black. Oh wait, sorry, Goku Black. And he gets bodied immediately
Absolutely.
with that rose. Oh
Oh
man.
my saucy.
Woo! Sorry, I can't contain myself. The sauciness is here. A true god is here, and his name is Goku Black. He ran the ones with Vegeta. He pretty much made him a donut.
Yeah.
Uh, and then afterwards, of course, they come back. They're licking their wounds. Vegeta training again, and then They go back to the future where they learn about what happened, like Goku Black's origin,
Mhm.
and this enrages Goku. This enrages Vegeta because like, how dare you steal a Saiyan's body? And then it pisses Trunks off to the high heavens. He achieves a new Super Saiyan form,
Yep.
Super Saiyan Rage, and of course Goku and Vegeta have to go back to the past again. Where this time Vegeta decides to spam the hyperbolic time chamber, get himself 7 years worth of training, and then comes out to go run the ones with Goku Black again,
Mhm.
where that get back is real.
Yeah, I mean they actually really do a good job of like fighting Goku Black in this arc. They do defeat him. I know like they technically don't defeat him, but because he cheated through the plot armor. But yeah, just with that, I mean he ultimately didn't defeat him because Goku had to get like essentially God to destroy the timeline. If we want to talk about how evil Goku Black is, but yeah,
Oh yeah, so with that, of course, Vegeta, he gets his get back of Goku Black, gets an amazing speech on like how Goku earned every ounce of power that he
yeah,
got only for you to steal it is trash.
that was
You are
yeah,
trash. Your whole family trash. Your alternate counterpart trash.
yes.
Every single Zamasu in the multiverse trash. And and yeah, of course, when they fuse together, Vegeta actually ends up teaming up with Trunks doing the father-son Gallic Gun, which was kind of crazy. Uh,
Yes.
but and of course, he had to be convinced to fuse with Goku again to become Vegeta Goat.
Yes.
Oh wait, Vagoto. Goto. But yeah, that's canon now. Goto. So yeah, they fuse again, beat them, and then boom, bada boom, they defuse, and then Trunks ends up winning. And as you mentioned, Zeno had to come in, race the entire timeline.
Wow. So then we go into the Tournament of Power. An incredible arc. We see a lot of different things. I mean, Jiren gives Vegeta the Beats by Dre as he does
Woo.
everybody. Yeah, Vegeta does really a good job of like fighting everyone. I believe this is the arc where he gets the power up to blue to like it wasn't Ultra Instinct, but
Yeah,
there was
he gets
something else
blue
that he was able to get.
evolution.
Yeah, so he was able to get that. It made him a little bit buffer. And yeah, just kind of going from there if you want to talk about Tournament of Power.
Oh yeah, so in Tournament Power, actually like in the prelude to it, his daughter gets born,
Oh, yes.
Bola. So and of course during that time he was focusing less on his training and more on being a family man, which I'm like, there you go, Vegeta. Being a good father. And then Tournament of Power happens and he's forced to team up with Frieza, and he's like, even he was like, nah, I'm pressing Frieza every chance I get, which is like rightfully so. Frieza's
Mhm.
trash. Even though he was kind of a semi MVP of the tournament.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, in the tournament itself, you see him and Goku actually teaming up on multiple occasions, which is something you never saw before. Like them two fighting together
Yeah.
in sync against Jiren, against all Universe 9, against Aniraza.
Oh, the one I really like with the Vegeta, the fight here, it's when he defeated the dude that became a destroyer god, and then he called him out for it.
Oh yes, yes. I was about to get to that. I was about to get to
Go
it.
ahead.
So yeah, so he goes blue evolution to where he's now on equal footing with blue Kaioken times 20. And he's like rejecting Ultra Instinct because, like, nah, that is not my way. I stick to my own pride. But
Mhm.
You Topo, you decide to give up your pride to be a destroyer? Oh nah, I can't be around you. Get wrecked, son. And he takes him out using the final explosion, the
Yeah.
technique that killed him before. But he survives. I'm like, yes, let's
Mhm.
go, Vegito. Vegigoat.
Yeah, that was absolutely incredible. So that's like essentially like in the beginning he couldn't beat Beerus, like the beginning of Super.
Hmm.
This is like the equivalent of him beating Beerus now, even though like different power scales, but like defeats a destroyer god. And then even with that, it's so funny when we see is it Khalifa, the other
Yep.
Saiyans? When they fuse together and Goku is like begging Vegeta to fuse again, and he's like, I am not putting on those earrings and fusing with you, Kakarot.
He's like,
I like that.
nah, fam, I can't allow that to happen. But also another thing that's even more beautiful, right, is his elimination.
Mhm.
So he gets eliminated from the tournament. You know, Goku's out for the count again because he ran out of energy, and Vegeta gets the beat down of his life. But when he gets eliminated, he gives all of his energy to Goku, entrusting his pride to him again. And he's
Wow.
crying while doing so too because he's thinking about his family who's potentially going to get erased. He's thinking about Kaba who did get erased in the
Yeah.
entire universe 6. So he's entrusting everything to Kakarot, and Goku goes Ultra Instinct. And while fighting, Vegeta gives probably another one of those great speeches that you see on TikTok a lot of times with that audio, where he's talking smack to the universe 12 god Belmont. It's like, oh nah, see, you keep underestimating us. Let me teach you something about Saiyans. You mess around, you gon' find out.
Let me pull the chart out real quick.
I was like, hold on, let me pull out the receipts. Let me see. We got Gohan eliminated a lot of people. We got Kefla, like those two eliminated a lot of people. Kaba got Super Saiyan 2, so he evolved. Kakarot, Ultra Instinct. He's battling your best mans and he's winning. And then we got me who took out your second strongest and won.
I wonder if I know we're gonna get to it a bit later. I wonder if in the next arc, the person that gets introduced that we're gonna cover, if they were in the team, if they would have been able to beat Jaren by himself without like any power ups.
Bruh, bruh. Let's just no in fact, let's do this, right? Because that was essentially the end, right? Let's
Mm-hmm.
transition from Tournament of Power to Broly.
Lord have mercy.
To again, another member of my top five,
and,
Broly.
and in this Broly, the canon has changed. So if you want to like update the canon.
Yes, so essentially, if you remember Z Broly, always screams Kakarot, is the legendary Super Saiyan. He was around during the Cell Saga. His first movie could honestly be put in canon. Then the second two are, or the second and third one are kind of iffy. But fan favorite character finally gets reintroduced. Well, finally gets introduced in canon, but he's completely different. So the
He's a brother.
circumstance, I wish, but the
I mean,
circum
he's a bit darker now. So
yeah, I was like, I wish, but like the circumstances around his birth is the same. Born power level 10,000. King Vegeta is pressed by him, so instead of trying to kill him, he says exiles him, and then we cut to post tournament of power, where he ends up facing the sins of his father in the form of Broly,
mm-hmm.
and oh man, that was a fight.
Mm-hmm.
That was a fight.
But then we get the legendary fusion.
Ha! Yes.
Oh my gosh, the goat.
Goat Jita makes his debut in his canon debut, and Goat
Yes.
Jita ran not just the paws, he ran the hands, he ran the feet, he ran the key blast, he ran his hair through Broly. Broly stood no chance.
They were destroying the world in this fight.
Going through different dimensions. I was like, when you were saying like, oh yeah, this person could probably take on Jiren, I say, given enough time, yes, yes, he could have,
My goodness.
and that's just him without training. Imagine Broly with training, and he can use God Key. Eh, Lord, I was like, give me Tournament of Power 2. I already have the 10 members who need to be on that squad. Like, replace Tien with Broly,
Gotta get out.
replace Master Roshi with Majin Buu, replace who was it?
Wait, isn't Kid Buu being regenerated?
Oh, he got reincarnated into Oob, who's an Indian kid, and I think he was like 3 or 4 years old by the point in Broly.
Okay.
So
Back to Vegeta.
yes, but back to go, but got to go Jita. But yeah, so essentially that was just an amazing movie, an amazing fight. After they fuse, you don't really see Vegeta for the rest of the movie, and then you get into the next movie, the final movie that we're going to talk about in this timeline.
Okay, so going to superhero, I see like notes that you put. I thought this movie wasn't canon.
So here's the thing about that, right? This movie is canon, and the time placement of it is literally a year before the end of Dragon Ball Z. So that final episode of Dragon Ball Z where Goku actually meets and fights Oob, a year prior, superhero happens.
Okay.
And with that, right? Also, I'm also like within the notes, it actually does take place after the Moro and Granola arcs of the manga. So, in case you're wondering, like after the Broly movie, there's two manga exclusive sagas that happen dealing with Moro and then the Granola arc. I'm
I
not
want to see
getting
the Moro so bad.
Oh yeah, the Moro arc go dummy and also has a great deal of Vegeta has a lot of Vegeta character development.
Yeah.
Same with the Granola arc. Like both of them develop both Goku and Vegeta's character arc to astronomical levels.
That power boost. Lord have mercy.
But we're not talking about that because we're sticking specifically anime. But in superhero arc, right? It's mostly a Gohan and Piccolo and Pan centric movie, but you cut to Goku, Vegeta, and Broly training together sporadically. So with that, you see Vegeta doing something he never did before, which was meditating. Like he's
Mhm.
sitting down, he's slowing down, he's meditating, he's learning a lot. He learned pretty much how Jiren was as strong as he was, and he's also learned a lot about Broly. And you can see like him and Broly, like they're actually good. Like they actually kind of bros now as well. So I'm just like, yes, good boy Broly.
I
So
mean, Broly's winning too. Like he got old girl.
oh yeah, he got Chile, but I'm sorry, this is not a Broly episode. If we want to make a Broly episode, hey, shout out in the comments. But but yeah, so when it comes to that, like him and Goku in the sparring in their base forms, where Vegeta, after all them years, after the decades, after all the trash that he'd been through, after all of the time he'd been proselytized, like, hey, I'm gonna kill Kakarot. After all the times he wanted to run them ones again, in a tear-jerking moment that had me tearing up in the theater, that had characters in the movie tearing up. Vegeta finally got his dub.
Yeah, yeah. They went at it and he was the last one standing. That was really cool. I think appreciation just to Vegeta for that moment. I think it was one of the moments a lot of people were talking about. So
Vegeta got
definitely
the dub.
that's how we wrap up his arc essentially, him getting the dub.
Yep.
So
But
yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna ask you like if you had anything else to add.
Yeah, so just a few things like now that we kind of recapped this whole entire arc, we one thing we talked about, but we didn't like talk about. He was winning in love. He got the number one girl in all of Dragon Ball.
Yeah, yeah, the number one in riches, the number one in looks, even though I'm kind of on Team Chi Chi on that,
I'm low key
but
Team Chi Chi, but she was getting like improvements with the Dragon Balls apparently using superhero.
I'm just like, fam, you cannot. But but yeah, but yeah, so he pretty much how he bagged Chi's kind of wild though, because remember, Yamcha was still a thing with her. So Vegeta killed this man, brought him back, and then stole his girl.
He demoed him.
Like that is absurd. Oh, not like if I was Yamcha, I would say go run your ones and then realize, oh wait, you can't.
You're not that guy, Chief.
You can't be him against Vegeta. Your name have to be Goku, Gohan, Frieza, or Broly,
Yeah.
or Beerus, or Whis to run the ones with them. That's crazy. But yeah, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about like how relatable Vegeta is.
Oh, I think it's interesting because from our perspectives, like in our own narrative, we are all our own Goku. And like so we are the main characters of our own stories. But through time we learn that the world does not revolve around us. So sometimes you have to take like essentially, I hate to say it, a side character role in some aspect of your life, whether that be work and you're a part of a team or like, football in some aspects or just like different areas of life, even let's say in a marriage or relationship where at times there's give and take, like who needs to be like supported more, who like kind of needs to like lead more. With that, I think it's relatable from Vegeta and why people empathize with him. It's like, man, why do you always have to take the L so much? Like how we joke with him and Renji, where it's like, man, he takes the L, he takes the L. Like so for in Superhero, when he gets that win against Goku, it's like, wow, it's actually a thing. So I think with that, it's just like really relatable. And he's not perfect. I think we see that a lot is that he isn't like, even though he was introduced as like the top villain at his introduction, we see that, okay, he's learning there are levels to this. And then like he doesn't skip. Like that's the thing that you mentioned with the Destroyer God. And like with Goku Black, it's like he earned everything he got. Even if he was Prince of the Saiyans, he had to scratch and claw for it. So that's one thing that's relatable.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And another aspect of Vegeta that I think is like super relatable is just how not only with the fact that well, that he sometimes is the cause of his own demise. Like his Saiyan pride is perhaps his greatest strength and his weakness.
Yeah.
And since like in different arcs, like he thinks he's better than a lot of people, which, hey, a lot of people can be as prideful. And then, as you alluded to very early, the humbling decides to come in and smack you right on the face and remind you where you are on the pecking order.
Hmm.
And just how, and when he mentioned, like, hey, he let Cell get to the point where essentially, like, because of Vegeta and Krillin, like, both Goku and Trunks died. But and even though they did die, like, of course it ended up like working out itself in the end with the Buu saga, which,
Right.
given the Buu saga, like, because of him, Buu ended up getting released and killed the entire planet, uh and destroyed the entire planet and everybody on it. But
Yeah.
still, like, you get the idea of that, like, you got sometimes you just gotta take a chill pill. You
Yes.
and you gotta, like, learn to relinquish your pride for the greater good, which is what he ends up doing in Dragon Ball Super at multiple points.
I think that's another this is kind of sidetracked, but like that's another place that I don't think people give enough credit to for places you don't want to live. The Dragon Ball universe, because you can literally just be chilling and then the world blows up and it's over.
I mean, it really only happened twice, but and, like, if you're a regular person, like, you not gonna know how much danger you're in.
That's
And plus
fair.
you're most likely gonna get wished back by the Dragon Balls anyways. Uh
Yeah.
but now,
Even
if you were a Z fighter on the other hand, then you'd probably be pressed.
that's fair. And one thing, just like with the blowing up, like you mentioned, like the turn from villain to hero isn't overnight. Like you mentioned, like King Piccolo and other like villains in the initial saga, it's like they're the villain, they fight Goku, they become friends, except for the Red Ribbon Army. But with Vegeta, it's like it took 3 arcs for him to actually be cemented as a good guy. And like it wasn't even like anti-hero status, it was like Cell and the Frieza saga.
Anti-villain.
Yeah, it's like he's still evil, evil. And like his motivations are evil. He just happens to need to fight them. So that I really appreciate that as well.
Yep, and it's another reason why I love Vegeta so much is that he has a much more realistic, like, turn from evil to good. See, there's actually this really great video I saw on redeeming villains, and that, like, there's a spectrum on, like, how somebody turns good, whether it's all on, like, the person's agency and, like, their own like, decision to turn good, a la Zuko from Avatar, or it's like or it's like mind control, to where either they break it or they get mind control to turn to the side of good. Think, let's say, Revan from Knights of the Old Republic.
Okay.
Now, Vegeta, in my opinion, is like right in the middle,
That's
where
fair.
to where it's where he has a lot of agency into his turn to the good, but, like, that one time he went Majin, like, it was his choice, but he did get mind control to turn evil. But it's through that evil side, as we mentioned earlier, that actually exposed kind of somewhat the most good in him in that point.
Right. And you also have to think is that like Vegeta, like we see in flashbacks, was always prideful even as a kid. But
Hmm.
growing up, he was working underneath Frieza, who is like the scumbag of the cinch. So like he's working under Frieza, who's like taking over planets, destroying planets. He's a menace. So like you also have to think, I didn't even consider this until just like thinking about like the nature versus nurture aspect of it. So like he always would have been prideful of like his dad being King Vegeta, but absolutely destroying planets and stuff like this and like taking over. Interesting.
Yes, and that's actually thank you for reminding me of that, because I knew I was forgetting to say something, but, like, it was actually mentioned, like, when Vegeta was dying to Frieza, they said that was still like a scum. I was still scumbag, right? But because of the fact that, like, I was basically raised by Frieza, because you gotta remember he was very young when he destroyed the
Yeah.
planet. So I was raised by Frieza. I was raised to be, like, cruel and evil, which is why you saw me kill Nappa. Like, you saw me kill my fellow Saiyans without a second thought,
Yeah.
Like, because even in the Saiyan hierarchy, because he was like with Frieza all the time, his his cruel mentality made Vegeta even more cruel than a normal Saiyan would expect.
Yeah.
But yeah, and another thing that again, well, you touched on it earlier was just this the fact of like, hey, I'm sometimes you're the side character, sometimes you're not him, you're not the main character.
Or at least just in a real life perspective, supporting role, if that's
Yeah,
better.
yeah. Like sometimes you're in a more supporting role, sometimes you're number two. And Vegeta ends up like learning real quick, like, hey, well, learns like not real quick, but like in the Buu saga, like, hey, I don't have to be number one.
Hmm.
I can be number two, but that doesn't mean that like I have to like essentially stagnate in
Yeah.
that role.
I like how you mentioned that because, I mean, there's presidents, there's vice presidents, but that doesn't mean you can't be an elite vice president or like just like even like with jobs and different roles that we have in life. That just because you are your title or just like a subsidiary, that doesn't mean you can't be elite at what you are. And like that doesn't mean like you don't have your needs or like you have to put all of that to the side for someone else. It just means in this specific role, this is him. And one thing that we have to give Vegeta credit for is that he's a much better father than Goku.
Yeah, yeah,
And at least husband, he's a much better husband because Goku doesn't know what a kiss is.
yeah, yeah. Hey, that's what you get for being raised as a country bumpkin all your life, Goku. You barely knew how to count at the age of 12.
Yeah. It
That's
was
fully
actually
canon.
sweet when Vegeta asked to hold his daughter. That was actually a really sweet moment.
It was like, and these are things that you don't really get because, like in Dragon Ball, you mostly focus on fighting, right? But there are a
Yeah.
lot of interpersonal moments without the fighting that are like really, aw.
So that's why I really love just doing character studies, taking the time to take a step back. We focus on one character, not the whole big story, but just like how they develop their big moments and just like the growth of it. And it really, you see how much it adds to the story and also how much the authors and storytellers take in letting that character grow. So I really enjoyed doing this one.
Yep, I sure did too. Because again, Vegeta's one of my favorite characters in Dragon Ball, so I have to give him his props.
And also to fans, if you watch Black Panther, the Killmonger's outfit is inspired by Vegeta.
Yes, sir. Yes,
So,
sir.
so he's definitely one of the most popular characters, period. So, going from there, we are going to go straight into recommendations. We gave a lot of Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, and Super recommendations. Anything else you got?
I mean, like for Vegeta, yeah, like Vegeta has like really great moments in the series, but I'm just gonna give you like recommendation for other animes where the number two has like really is really super solid.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Firstly, as we mentioned earlier, Avatar: The Last Airbender
Yep.
is amazing, goated. I don't need to say no more, and you can find those wherever you can.
Those are having movies.
Yep. The movies are coming out, so I am hype.
The only movies that exist for those.
Wait, there are others?
No, I mean the ones that are coming out are the only ones that will exist in the future and
Oh,
have
cool.
exist.
Oh, cool. And I think there's a Zuko one that's specifically coming out too.
Ooh,
'Cause I
nice.
just saw like a poster with Zuko. I'm like, oh snap. But yeah, there's that. I also like to mention One Piece with the
Mm-hmm.
character of Rona Zoro. Even though this man gets lost everywhere, he's a great number two. Another show where like the number two is almost as good, if not better than the number one. I would have to give it to My Hero Academia with the relationship of Deku and Bakugo,
Yep.
especially after this last episode.
Dang. He did beat him. So that is one thing.
Yeah, yeah, he did beat him, but was Deku holding back the whole time?
I mean, Deku always has to hold back, but we're gonna have an episode that kind of touches on a lot of these number twos. Anything else? I know Naruto and Sasuke is one that I mentioned.
Yeah, of course, Naruto and Sasuke, and in Bleach, I'm gonna say Ichigo and Grimmjow is more.
Mm.
They are a better duo than Ichigo and Renji.
I was thinking of Uryu, honestly, but that's a good point that you mentioned Grimjow.
Yeah. Bleach has a bunch of number twos actually.
Yeah, yeah.
So you can take your pick of anyone. I choose Grimjow because he's the one who gets the most dubs.
That's true. If you put Kenpachi at number two,
Nah, Kenpachi's something else. He is not number one or number two. He is zero.
he is him.
He is him. I do not want to disrespect that man.
That's fair. And yeah, so that's good. I'm trying to think if there's any. Oh, Blue Lock.
Oh my god. Bachi goat.
Oh, and speaking of sports anime, another one. It's literally the premise of it, but Kuroko's basketball. It's literally a 1A, 1B situation. So that's definitely one. But I like that. So with that, we're wrapping up. Any plugs you want to get to?
Yes. So of course we got ourselves our plugs, which include our Instagram and Twitter, which is at Blurred City 22. And then we have ourselves our YouTube and Patreon, which is Blurred City Pod. That's where you can, with the Patreon, you can give us some donations in order to give us get access to special episodes and stuff that you may or may not ever see on the main channel. And then we have ourselves our Discord, which is linked in our Instagram page. Fun little community where we post memes and post updates to our general vids, and as well as submit questions for Geek Out questions for our Q&As, Geek Out Freakouts, random fan theories, and all of the above. And finally, we have our email, which is blurredcity22@gmail.com, where you can submit those aforementioned things as well. So finally, I have my personal TikTok page, which is the Rogue Jedi 21. I just posted something really funny, which at the time of this video, I may have posted something else. But at the time of recording, I posted something for Friday the 13th. So go check that out. And yeah, that's all I had. Do you have anything?
Yep. For my individual author pages, you can catch my Instagram at Mitri_Dash and my Twitter at the Mad-16. So just wrapping up everything. Again, like, subscribe, turn notifications on, share it with people. We really just want to keep the Blurred City growing. Moving forward, what you have to look forward to, we're going to get a little bit mutated, if you will. So next week, we're going to have intro to X-Men. So just like a big overview of the X-Men, mutants in general from that perspective. And then we're going to wrap up the month slightly going into February with the X-Men or mutant draft. Haven't decided the rules yet, but that's going to be really fun. So stick and stay tuned. Any words of encouragement?
Yes. So just know that like when you're in life, just know that like sometimes your pride ain't worth it. When you're dealing with situations and you want to like go at it on your own, or like you think you're the best in the scenario, take a minute and take just a few moments just to reflect and just think over your possibility or your situation, because you may find out that like you might actually be the hindrance, or you may actually make situation worse. So go through life like, if you think you're feeling your pride flare up, then chill out.
Good, cool. For me, to share, just even if you believe that you're in a situation where you're number two, stay true to you. Just like Vegeta did, stay true to his values, even though, like you said, pride can get to you, but like, you know who you are better than almost anyone else walking this earth. So just like stick to your values, stick to your guns, and just be your best self. And that's okay sometimes because you are the main character in your own story. So moving forward, we're going to leave you as we always do. It's not goodbye forever. It's just goodbye for now. And that's the Blurred City Podcast.
See ya later.